is something I've never done before, but I'm trying color mapping my pieces. So this piece I want to be bigger. I'm kind of thinking this piece is going to be this size, which is 9 by 12. So with a bigger piece, with all these characters that I'm going to use, I want to make sure that I have a plan. So what I was doing here was I just wanted to have basically a color map of how I want the overall piece to look like. So I basically decided what order I wanted the characters to be walking in, who I wanted to carry what, kind of based on their size. That was another thing, was I was like, okay, who's going to be the biggest, who's going to be the smallest, like what's the relative size? Even though I don't think these are perfectly accurate to what their actual size is in real life. Like, I'm pretty sure a hedgehog is a lot smaller than a bear than in this scenario here. But again, this is like whimsical, a little bit cartoonish, so I think playing with size is good. But I think a certain level of reality where it's like a hedgehog is going to be smaller than a bear is helpful to my pieces. I think that communicates what I want, in that I want there to be some grounded reality in what I'm creating, but I also want there to be a level of this is fairy tale, this is a story. And I think you can make decisions like that in every aspect of the piece. So yeah, that's what I was doing here. I'm making sure that I like the way my colors lay out too. I think the fox and the bear are a little bit similar in color, and then the raccoon and the skunk are similar in color, so I think spreading them out is good. I also decided what like fall wardrobe item they would be wearing, which I think is really fun, and then what Thanksgiving food item they're bringing. Anyways, so that's what this is me figuring out what characters I want, how I want them to be ordered, what I want them to be wearing, what colors their wardrobe items should be, because they could be any color I wanted, and what foods they're bringing. When I created all these characters for Peachtober, I definitely put a lot of thought into them, but I did not research much of anything about character design. Since finishing Peachtober though, I feel like I've already learned a lot about it, some from new information, but lots through mistakes. One big mistake that I made during Peachtober was the colors of my characters were all over the place. I followed a similar process as this painting for each one, laying down a base watercolor, adding details with colored pencil, and finishing with ink. I don't have a lot of shades of watercolor, but I have at least 60 colored pencils, most of which are earth tones. A great example of this mistake was Norman the bear. I have 3 shades of brown watercolor paint, so it wasn't hard to consistently give him the same undercoat, but I have probably 15 brown colored pencils, and each day I did a painting of Norman, I was reaching for a different combo of pencils. The end result was some days he was dark brown, others he looked faded. It was just kind of a mess. Something I'm learning is that one of the key parts of illustrating characters is consistency. They have to look the same in different settings, different poses, in different outfits. I did not do that well during Peachtober. But to be fair, I was not thinking about that at all. But since I'm not done with these characters, I am starting a color map for them now. Basically just noting the specific pencils that I'm using for each character so that no matter what, I can bring a consistent look to each one. I ended up having square swatches for my Prismacolor pencils and circle swatches for the Polychromos pencils that I have, so that if I replace them later, I'll know what brand I was using and can have a better idea of if I can find that exact pencil or find a similar shade for it of a different brand. I'm recording this after having finished this piece and having made this whole video, so keep that in mind as I'm talking to you. But I am really proud of how this piece turns out, and I think a big part of that is slowing down and thinking through each step of the process. I love the urgency of art challenges like Peachtober. They push you past your inhibitions and get you creating every day. But I am learning to value being meticulous and developing a true process to my art. Finding consistent steps that I follow gives my work a cohesion I don't think it's ever had before. I think the youthful, brash side of me dislikes the idea of following a pattern. The immature artist wants to only follow passion and the whims of nauseating inspiration, but true, lasting artists who create just incredible work over and over are disciplined and consistent. There's a quiet persistence found in each of their paintings that speaks of the hours they've spent putting in effort, regardless of how they felt in the moment. And that's what I want to have in my work. Anyway, enough of my long-winded thoughts about art and the mind. If you want your work to be more consistent, create a color guide for yourself.